Gary plugs in his presentation. Dr. Gary Halada from the Department of Materials Science Engineering is going to be talking about his SUNY IIT grant on electronic portfolios to enhance experiential learning and assessment in internship courses.
Thanks. Pulling out of my pocket. Picture of me dropping. Okay. Actually, I have a poster stuff over here, so if you've seen it already, I don't want to repeat myself too much. But it's pretty much some of the same things. I'm glad to see you're keeping Alex Orloff off the streets. Otherwise, we'll keep winning awards. We don't want. In any case, this is another IITG grant project. I've been working with electronic portfolios for a while with the help of folks like Nancy and Pat and everybody else over in the faculty center. And by looking at them, I've learned about more things you could do with them. I started out by looking at portfolios in a sense for trying to help students, try to demonstrate student learning, or help students demonstrate student learning to themselves in the area of nanotechnology, which is a particular area of interest of mine in both research and education. But through that, I also started thinking about other ways we could use them, and I decided I'd try to use them in a lot of different areas. And one area that I think electronic portfolios can be extremely helpful in, as you've heard from other people today, is in experiential learning. Learning from, being able to demonstrate learning and being able to help students learn from things such as internships or research. I haven't really applied it much to research yet, but this is a little project about internships and what can be done. This is sort of just a general overview, which is pretty similar to what I've had before. Just looking at the architecture of the project itself. And the idea is that you can use these electronic portfolios specifically to benefit all three primary stakeholders involved. The students are obviously benefited by this because it becomes a way they can demonstrate their learning, they can collect what they've done over the course of an internship, and they can also use it and attach it or connect it to other courses they've taken and show how their overall learning experience throughout their 4 years or more of college builds together to help provide them with a very strong background. It helps the mentors or the companies in several different ways. I've seen surveys of mentors in industry and employers, and they've been asked what some of the biggest challenges are. And one of the challenges is in mentoring and advising and supervising the interns. So this is a process, by their active participation in the portfolio, they can use to help advise and help supervise the interns. They can also help them recruit new interns. Further, more so than that, they have a number of different incentives in this. One is that the students are putting things they're doing on the portfolio, and of course employers have an interest in making sure the student doesn't go revealing proprietary information. So they almost have to look at the portfolio, which is a nice thing. The electronic portfolios are also used by the faculty, myself, or the instructor of the course, for assessment. And also for, again, helping to comment on what students are doing and trying to find out how to help them learn more from the overall project. And the entire thing is supported by wonderful groups like we have here on campus. And also through education and the other tools that are out there. I mentioned at the beginning here also a website. This is an idea that's still under development where students could get information before they actually register for the course, or to help them find internships. And you can also link them to other resources. For example, the Career Center on campus, or STEM Hub, which is a little blurry down there, but that's an organization that's built up through folks at Brookhaven National Lab to help develop internships. And they can see various types of guides and so forth. Okay. I don't want to go through this in great detail, so I'm just going to flash you a few things. At this point, what we've done is we've created a template, and the template's been used by a number of students already. And I don't want to, I can give you links to some of their portfolios, some of them you may have already seen today. But I know it's too small to read what's up there in the template, but if we kind of break it out just a little bit, again, it'll probably be too small to read. This template, by the way, was developed through a number of meetings with faculty, as well as representatives of industry, as well as people involved in assessment, and students. I put students on every committee, because I need to know what the students think is important. So they put their bio in there, which includes their professional philosophy and goals. They have a resume, which they include in the template. And then for the internship itself, I know the words are too small to see because I just sort of clipped it from the page. There's a description of the internship itself. There's a journal through which they can write about what they've done and what it means to them, what they've learned from it, skills they developed. So there's a journaling feature. There's a summary of their activities where they can describe how their activities contributed not just to their own learning, but also to the goals of the company. And I think that's very important, especially if you're going to have the company involved. You want them to be active and excited participants. So to be able to show them how the students think they're helping the company and they're helping promote the company goals and vision is very important. And that will hopefully bring the mentors back and the companies back to bring in more students. And then they also list any resources or technology they've used. In addition to that, there's also a reflection, which you know how important reflection is in the electronic portfolios, but they reflect on various certain issues. Not only what they learned from the experience, how the experience gave them insight into engineering in general, what skills and abilities did they observe when they were on the job that helped them see how professional engineers work and what it means to be a professional engineer. So they're really reflecting not just on what they've learned, but also what they've seen. Hopefully they've seen good things. Another reason for the mentors in the industry to be an active participant in the portfolio. And also, basically, we ask them simple questions. How will you describe this experience to a future employer or to friends and family? And how do your professional goals relate to those of the company? And they include other things on there, for example, a short presentation or other kind of multimedia experience that shows what skills they've gained and how this process worked. So it really is a nice template overall. The other parts of it, which I don't want to go into in too much detail, after this there's a survey on the site for the employers. And it does a number of different things. Well, actually, before that, there's a grading rubric, which is visible to the students. So the students will actually see what we as faculty, in association with mentors, think of as A, B, C, D work in this because that's always a great motivator, of course. So you want to have the students be able to see and understand the rubric. And so it involves professional development, how did they work on multidisciplinary teams, and I'll show you where this is heading. How did they develop their communication skills? How did they communicate clearly and effectively? How did they use different techniques and skills and technologies necessary for professional engineering practice? They should also show how they demonstrated. They have to show these things. Show how they demonstrated independence and self-reliance in identifying the information they need to solve the problem, locating that information, and then solving the problem. Part of this is reflecting on problem-based learning. Have they learned the process, an inquiry-based approach to solving real-world problems, just like professional engineers should be doing. And then there's also task-specific things they need to reflect on. For example, can they show how they've excelled at collecting or interpreting data? This shows, by the way, the evidence up there that they should be giving, their projects that are listed and described, the journal itself. How do they excel at testing or design tasks? How do they excel at identifying, formulating, and solving engineering problems? Now, this wording, by the way, is extraordinarily familiar to those of us in engineering who have gone through the accreditation process. I'm referring here to the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, or ABET. And one of the ways I want to be able to use these portfolios, and one of the values of us as faculty, is to be able to glean information from them to show through indirect or direct evaluation and assessment, are we meeting the student learning outcomes that are required by ABET accreditation? And so, these are them. I'm not going to read through them. We don't have time. But, this is part of our employer mentor survey. And so we ask the employers and the mentors, for example, are our program objectives in our engineering program, are they good objectives? Are they solid? Do they see that these objectives over here are ones that you want students to understand at the time after graduation, actually? And the learning outcomes on the other side, on the right over there, these are the different abilities that students should have, the skills they should have at the time of graduation. So these are very important, and some of these are very much aligned with what you get from experiential learning, or what you can get from it. For example, an ability to apply knowledge in math, science, and engineering, or the ability to design something, or the ability to function on a multidisciplinary team. Some of these are very, very hard to assess. And the people who come here from ABET, from the organization, understand that, and they are actually very excited about what we're trying to do here. That we can actually look at things, for example, an ability to, a recognition of need for it, ability to engage in lifelong learning, ability to communicate effectively, and understanding of professional and ethical responsibility. These can be brought out through the portfolio. And so we can show that we do assess students in these areas. And of course we have a number of examples, which I won't talk about right now, but these are sort of pilot examples using this template. And this provides us with feedback. It also provides feedback to industrial mentors. It provides feedback to our industrial advisory board, and also to the students and the faculty, of course. The last thing I'm going to say about this is that we want to develop it here, but we'd like to disseminate it more widely. And one of the ways that I'm interested in disseminating this is through an organization that I represent, Stony Brook 2, which is the Long Island Alternative Energy Consortium. This is one place that I was really, the emphasis on internships was kind of brought home, because this is all about job creation. It's all about expanding the workforce and developing green jobs and jobs in areas of emerging technology. And so, as you can see, one of the goals of this organization is to develop and support experiential learning through internships. So I'm working with folks on these different campuses and different organizations to try to show them what we're doing, ask if it can be used on their campuses, and hopefully this will be a way that we can show that we're developing new jobs and expanding the opportunities for students, as well as the economic development in the region. So it comes together in a lot of different ways. I don't have too much more to say than that. I know it's a very quick presentation, and so I tried to keep it quick, but I was hoping that you might have a question or two, or not. Well, sorry, I was bouncing back here for a second. It's the same problem the students have contacting industry too. We have a very good career center, and they do a great job of talking to companies. But in addition to that, I'm a faculty member in engineering. I've worked with probably 15 companies in the last few years. I think about this when I'm working with a company. I may go to them and say, my technology might be something you're interested in, or the kind of analytical work. I do failure analysis, so it applies to a lot of different companies. And but I also talk to them. I say, by the way, I'm also undergraduate program director. I'm also very interested in internships. Who in your company can I talk to? And a lot of the contacts are through faculty. Because faculty are on the front lines working with companies. And so if I can get faculty to see the value in this, then the faculty can aid in the recruitment process and building opportunities. They can. A lot of times you go to the company. A lot of times you try to make it as easy as possible for the folks at the company to get involved in programs like this. So sometimes there's group meetings. I was very happy to have this energy consortium as part of what I'm doing, because that's an area I can tap into. Plus the folks at Brookhaven Lab who have developed a STEM hub for the Long Island region with a number of the other campuses around. There are those opportunities. So we just kind of keep conglomerating these things. It's not a completely organized process, but so far it seems to be effective. And plus the students themselves are going out and contacting companies. There's information that's going to be distributed through this website that's up here. Initially, this is a website you can, or something you can go to even if you're not involved in the portfolio or the learning management system or the other part of the process. And it'll have some tips on how to approach a company, what to say to them. Yeah.
Can you give me an idea of some of the job titles that the interns would be put into your internship?
You mean what some of the types of this?
Is there some new titles there? Is it just engineering intern? Or?
These are, I mainly work with engineering interns, but since we have in my degree program that I am an undergraduate program director for, we have a track or a specialization in engineering management. So we also look at internships on the management side as well. So we have students who are going out there and looking at how to help companies make decisions. And so they might get involved in quality control as well as something such as a design task. I mean, some of the areas, when I look at what some of our interns are doing now, the students doing some things that are very sort of scientific-y oriented stuff, like graphene laboratories up there, people working with airline companies, some are civil engineering firms, and it's more about designing facilities or helping a design team, something along that nature.
Thanks, Gary.